Let me be brutally honest with you. The person you are today, the one who makes excuses, who hesitates, who plays small, that version of you needs to die. That version of you is keeping you stuck. It's stealing your dreams. It's making you wake up every morning feeling frustrated, tired, and disappointed in yourself. And the worst part, you know it. So here's the truth. You have two choices. Keep feeding that weak version of yourself, or finally put it to rest and step into the person you're meant to be. Successful people don't wait until they feel motivated. They don't sit around hoping for the perfect moment or the right mood to strike. They take action, whether they feel like it or not. That's the key difference between those who achieve their goals and those who stay stuck in the same patterns year after year. The problem isn't that you lack motivation or willpower. It's that you keep negotiating with yourself when it's time to take action. Think about how often you've had a plan in mind, something you know you need to do. But when the moment comes, you start making excuses. Maybe you set your alarm early to go to the gym, but when it goes off, your brain immediately tries to bargain with you. Just 5 more minutes, or I'll work out later today. The next thing you know, you've hit snooze 3 times, and now you don't have time to work out. Or maybe you plan to work on a project, but instead of getting started, you tell yourself, I'll do it after 1 more episode, or I'll start tomorrow when I feel more focused. This constant negotiation is what's keeping you from making progress. Your brain will always try to protect you from discomfort. It's wired to seek ease and avoid anything that feels hard or uncertain. But growth, success, and change only happen when you push through that initial resistance. The more you hesitate, the stronger your excuses become. The longer you delay, the harder it is to take action. Every time you let yourself off the hook, you reinforce the habit of quitting. You teach yourself that it's okay to break promises to yourself. The most successful people in the world don't allow their feelings to dictate their actions. They don't wait until they feel like it to get things done. They decide what needs to be done, and then they do it. No internal debate, no bargaining, no hesitation. They understand that motivation is unreliable. Some days you'll wake up feeling energized and ready to tackle your goals. Other days you'll feel exhausted, uninspired, or overwhelmed. But the people who achieve great things don't let their emotions control their actions. Imagine if every time you wanted to achieve something, you had to wait until you felt like doing it. You'd never accomplish anything meaningful. You wouldn't work out consistently because there will always be days when you don't feel like it. You wouldn't build a successful career because there will be moments when you're tired, frustrated, or lacking confidence. You wouldn't develop new skills because learning something new is often uncomfortable and challenging. The people who get ahead in life are the ones who understand that their feelings are temporary, but their actions create results. The key to breaking this cycle is to make a firm decision ahead of time. Instead of giving yourself an option, treat your commitments like non-negotiable rules. If you say you're going to wake up at 5 a.m., then when your alarm goes off, you get up, no discussion. If you decide to work out, you put on your shoes and go, even if you're tired. If you plan to work on your business, you sit down and do the work, whether you're in the mood or not. One of the best strategies to stop negotiating with yourself is to use a countdown method. The moment you catch yourself hesitating, count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then move. This simple trick helps override your brain's instinct to overthink and delay action. The longer you sit there debating whether or not to do something, the easier it is to talk yourself out of it. But when you act before your excuses can take over, you build momentum. Another powerful way to shift your mindset is to recognize that your excuses aren't facts, they're just thoughts. When your brain tells you, I'm too tired, or I don't have time, challenge those thoughts. Ask yourself, is this really true, or is this just a comfortable excuse? Most of the time, you're not actually too tired. You just don't want to be uncomfortable. You do have time. You're just choosing to spend it on something else. When you start recognizing excuses for what they are, you take back control. If you want to change your life, you have to take action before you feel ready. The truth is, you'll never feel completely ready. There will always be doubts, fears, and reasons to wait. But the longer you wait, the more power you give to the weak version of yourself, the version that stays stuck, plays small, and never reaches its full potential. Your ability to follow through on your commitments is the foundation of self-confidence and success. Every time you say you're going to do something and actually do it, you prove to yourself that you are capable, disciplined, and trustworthy. On the other hand, every time you break a promise to yourself, whether it's skipping a workout, procrastinating on a project, or not sticking to a goal, you chip away at your confidence. You reinforce the belief that quitting is an option. And over time, this creates a habit of self-sabotage. Think about how you treat promises to other people. If you tell a friend that you'll meet them for coffee at a certain time, you show up because you don't want to let them down. If your boss gives you a deadline, you do everything you can to meet it because your reputation is on the line. But when it comes to yourself, you probably don't hold the same level of accountability. You say you'll start eating healthier, and then a few days later, you're back to your old habits. You tell yourself you'll wake up early and be productive, but then you hit snooze 5 times. You commit to working on your dreams, yet somehow weeks go by and you've made 0 progress. The reason this happens isn't because you're lazy or undisciplined. It's because you've conditioned yourself to believe that breaking promises to yourself is acceptable. The reality is the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. If you constantly let yourself off the hook in small ways, it spills over into bigger areas of your life. If you can't keep a promise to go to the gym 3 times a week, how will you stay committed when it's time to take a major risk for your career or push through a difficult challenge? If you repeatedly say you'll start working on something tomorrow, how can you expect to build the kind of life you want? Success isn't about motivation. It's about consistency. And consistency starts with doing what you say you're going to do, no matter what. The most powerful way to rebuild trust with yourself is to start small. Many people fail because they set massive goals, but don't have the discipline to back them up. They try to change everything at once. Wake up at 5 a.m., work out every day, eat perfectly, build a new business, read a book a week. But within days, they burn out. The problem isn't that their goals are too big. It's that they haven't built the habit of following through. The key is to start proving to yourself that you can be trusted. If you say you're going to work out, then work out. It doesn't have to be an hour-long gym session. Even a 10-minute walk is enough to reinforce the habit of doing what you say. If you commit to waking up at a certain time, then wake up. No snooze button, no excuses. These small wins might seem insignificant, but they create a ripple effect. When you start showing up for yourself in little ways, you build momentum and confidence, and soon those small habits turn into bigger changes. Another critical shift is to stop relying on feelings to determine your actions. Your emotions are unreliable. Some days you'll feel excited and ready to tackle your goals. Other days you'll feel exhausted, unmotivated, or overwhelmed. But the people who succeed don't let their feelings dictate their actions. They stick to their commitments whether they feel like it or not. The difference between people who achieve their goals and those who don't isn't talent, intelligence, or luck. It's their ability to act despite how they feel. They train themselves to do what needs to be done, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. A powerful strategy to reinforce this mindset is to set clear, non-negotiable standards for yourself. If you tell yourself, I will work on my business for 1 hour every evening, then that's exactly what you do. There's no room for negotiation. You don't debate whether you're in the mood. You don't wait until conditions are perfect. You just do it. This shift in thinking is what separates high achievers from everyone else. They don't waste energy deciding whether or not to follow through, they remove the option of quitting altogether. When you start treating your own commitments as seriously as you treat commitments to others, everything in your life changes. You stop waiting for motivation, and instead you build discipline. You stop making excuses, and instead you take control. You develop an unshakable confidence because you know that no matter what, you can rely on yourself. The more you practice this, the stronger it becomes. Over time, it stops being something you have to force yourself to do and becomes part of who you are. Real transformation doesn't come from simply changing a few habits. It comes from changing your identity. Too many people try to improve their lives by focusing on external behaviors, waking up earlier, exercising more, being more productive, but they still see themselves as the same person who struggles with discipline, procrastinates, or lacks motivation. The truth is, if you don't change the way you see yourself, you'll always revert back to your old habits. This is why so many people start strong with a new goal, but fall back into their old patterns within weeks. They are trying to force new actions without changing the core belief of who they are. When you shift your identity, everything else follows. If you've spent years telling yourself, I'm not a morning person, then no matter how many alarms you set, you will always struggle with waking up early because you believe you're not the kind of person who does it. If you think, I'm just not disciplined, then every time you try to stick to a new habit, you'll find a way to justify quitting because deep down, you don't see yourself as someone who follows through. The key to lasting change is to stop saying, I need to be more disciplined, and instead say, I am disciplined. Stop saying, I need to get in shape, and start saying, I am the kind of person who takes care of my body. This simple shift rewires your brain to align your actions with your identity. Think about it this way. If someone offered you a cigarette and you were trying to quit smoking, there's a huge difference between saying, no thanks, I'm trying to quit, and saying, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. The first statement still identifies you as a smoker who is trying to change. The second statement is a complete identity shift. You are no longer a smoker, so there's no internal battle. This is how you need to approach every area of your life. If you want to be disciplined, stop thinking of yourself as someone who struggles with discipline and start seeing yourself as someone who follows through no matter what. Your identity is shaped by your repeated actions, so the fastest way to change who you believe you are is to prove it to yourself through small, consistent wins. If you want to be a person who wakes up early, don't just set an alarm. Wake up early every day, even if it's just 10 minutes earlier than usual. If you want to be a writer, don't just tell yourself you'll start writing someday. Write something every single day, even if it's just one paragraph. These small actions reinforce your new identity. Over time, your brain stops seeing them as something you're forcing yourself to do and starts accepting them as part of who you are. Most people fail to change because they let their past define them. They say, I've always been this way, or I've never been good at that, as if their identity is set in stone. But your past does not define you. Your actions today do. The person you were 5 years ago, or even 5 minutes ago, does not have to be the person you are right now. You have the power to redefine yourself at any moment. The only thing holding you back is the outdated version of yourself that you refuse to let go of. One of the best ways to reinforce your new identity is to surround yourself with people who already embody the traits you want to develop. If you want to be more disciplined, spend time around disciplined people. If you want to be more confident, spend time with confident people. Human behavior is influenced by the people we associate with. So if your environment reinforces your old identity, it will be much harder to change. But if you immerse yourself in a community of people who think and act the way you want to, their habits and mindset will start to rub off on you. Another important factor in identity change is self-talk. The way you speak to yourself matters. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm lazy, I always procrastinate, or I can never stick to anything, then your brain will look for ways to confirm those beliefs. Instead, you need to reprogram your mind by using positive affirmations that align with the identity you want to adopt. Start telling yourself, I am disciplined, I am productive, I am someone who takes action. At first, it might feel fake because your brain has been conditioned to believe the opposite, but the more you say it and back it up with action, the more it becomes your reality. The reason most people never reach their full potential is that they are still attached to the version of themselves that plays small, makes excuses, and avoids discomfort. They cling to old labels and limiting beliefs because stepping into a new identity feels unfamiliar and uncomfortable. But growth always requires discomfort. You have to be willing to let go of the version of yourself that is holding you back and step into the person you are meant to become. The biggest mistake people make when trying to change their lives is waiting. They wait for the perfect moment, the right circumstances, or the motivation to strike before they take action. But the truth is, waiting is just another form of procrastination. There is never going to be a perfect time. There will always be obstacles, distractions, and reasons to put things off. The only way to break this cycle is to take the first step right now. Action creates momentum, and momentum leads to progress. The longer you wait to start, the harder it becomes. Your brain gets comfortable in a state of inaction, and every day that goes by reinforces the habit of hesitation. The only way to escape this pattern is to force yourself to move before your brain has a chance to talk you out of it. The moment you think about doing something important, act immediately. Don't give yourself time to overthink or come up with excuses. The more you train yourself to act quickly, the less resistance you'll feel over time. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves is that they need to feel ready before they start. But readiness is a myth. You're never going to feel 100% prepared to step outside your comfort zone. If you wait for confidence, you'll be waiting forever. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes as a result of action. The only way to build confidence is by proving to yourself that you are capable. The more you take action, the more you reinforce the belief that you can handle challenges, adapt, and push through discomfort. Fear is another major reason people hesitate to take action. They are afraid of failure, rejection, or looking foolish. But fear only has power over you if you let it stop you. The moment you take action despite your fear, you weaken its grip on you. Most of the time, the things we fear aren't nearly as bad as we imagine. The fear of doing something is always worse than actually doing it. When you take the first step, you realize that you are stronger than your fear. A powerful way to push yourself into action is to use the 5-second rule. The moment you feel hesitation creeping in, count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then move. This simple trick interrupts your brain's tendency to procrastinate and forces you to act before your excuses take over. It may seem small, but consistently applying this technique can have a huge impact on your productivity and self-discipline. Another way to eliminate hesitation is to make decisions quickly. People who achieve great things don't waste time overanalyzing every choice. They trust themselves to make a decision and then adjust as they go. Overthinking leads to doubt, and doubt leads to inaction. Instead of debating whether or not to do something, commit to it and figure things out along the way. Action brings clarity. The more you do, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you get. Small actions matter. People often wait because they think they need to make huge changes all at once. They want to completely transform their lives overnight. And when that feels overwhelming, they do nothing. But real change happens through consistent small steps. If you want to get in shape, Don't wait until you can do an intense workout. Just start with a short walk. If you want to build a business, don't wait until you have everything figured out. Just take the first step. Progress is made one decision at a time. The people who succeed in life are not the ones who wait until everything is perfect. They are the ones who take messy, imperfect action. They understand that failure is part of the process. They don't waste time worrying about what could go wrong. They focus on what they can do right now. Every successful person started somewhere. They weren't experts when they began. They didn't have all the answers, but they took the first step, and that's what set them apart. If you want to change your life, you have to start before you feel ready. You have to move before you have all the answers. You have to take the first step, even if it's small, even if it's imperfect, even if it's uncomfortable. Because once you start, you create momentum. And once you have momentum, nothing can stop you. Look, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to wake up for you, put in the work for you, or fight for your dream. It's all on you. That weak version of yourself, the one that hesitates, procrastinates, and settles, it's time to let it go. You have everything you need inside you, but the only way to unleash it is to take action, stay disciplined, and refuse to quit. So stop waiting, stop making excuses, decide right now that you're done playing small.